weirdo?
Takes one to know one.
All right, fine. I guess photography does tend to attract us weirdos and misfits and people that don't usually fit in. I mean, why talk to people when you could be playing with toys, right? Photography has been so important to me in my life and probably is to you as well. It's been really an emotional support blanket in my hands when I'm in social situations. A major part of how I grew my career was during my university tenure, I was photographing a lot of parties. I would go to a lot of the Greek events that people were inviting me to, and they were asking me to shoot and photograph the events. It really was kind of like a blessing because I don't think I had the social capacity to put myself in these kinds of situations to go to all these events and parties anyway. But because of the camera I had an in, I became everyone's awesome friend. And when I was in those houses, when I was in those situations, or when I just didn't feel like talking to anyone, I always had like a toy with me or something that I could kind of lose myself into. A lot of us are probably overthinkers and stuck in our own heads, and we like to be really kind of nerdy about photography, about, you know, exposure, and, you know, there's math involved, and there's a lot of like weird little intricacies that all of us have in common because of this shared hobby that we have, you know, whether it's a career choice or it started out as a hobby, it became a career choice. You know, we all have this love for just, you know, the camera, and maybe it's not always as technical as other people, but when we're first starting out, it really does feel like playing with toys. Even now, the more I continue into my career, I just have like a whole living room full of toys. Photography is this subjective art that really has no plateau. It doesn't have like an end goal. It never has like a, oh, now I'm officially the best and I don't need to learn anything else and that's it. So those of us who are content in that rush of always wanting something more and just, you know, being in love with what you're doing and not where you're achieving or where you're reaching or where you're going, or just the actual act of being in the moment and being present and just you and your camera and the moment, I think that's what really attracts most of us. When I was shooting these events, when I was shooting these parties, I didn't want to be in the moment because I was kind of socially scared. I would be nervous to just kind of talk and to be in these environments. But because of the camera, it kind of allowed me to just, I was in a conversation with the camera. I wasn't really in a conversation with these people. Anytime something got a little overwhelming or out of hand, I could just, oh, there's a shot there I need to go take. You know, it's this beauty of having something that you can kind of escape with. By the time I got to graduating, I didn't want to have this job where I had to, you know, actually interact with people and have these one-on-one conversations where I was away from what I wanted to do. I think understanding that photography had the ability to be a business was just so grand for me as a college student. Even though that's not what I was studying, I still had the work ethic of a college student. You know, a college student that went to too many parties, but still. I think I was able to apply that to what it takes to be a photographer. This lifestyle of being able to record these videos on a Tuesday or have the ability to kind of plan out your month or your seasons so that you know that, oh, I have like 2 weeks of open time now, and then I have 2 weeks later that I have to work pretty much every day. Well, at least now you can kind of have that balance. If you're into, I want stability, I want paycheck every Thursday, yeah, this isn't for you. But throughout that college experience, I was experiencing that wasn't for me either. Like, that's not what I wanted. I was having these like instantly gratifying moments with photography that, you know, you don't really get with these 9-to-5 jobs, and you don't really get to experience as much, you know, just sheer happiness in other people's lives. Even though I feel like even when I'm having portrait sessions with other people, I'm still not having these crazy, hyper-conscious one-on-one conversations with these people because I'm just focusing about taking a nice photo. I'm just focusing on the exposure, the lighting, and then trying to get a nice expression out of my model. But I'm so much more focused about the camera that I forget that I'm socially awkward, so to speak, you know what I mean? Even, I guess this, you know, sometimes there's a few hundred of you that are watching these videos. If I was in a classroom talking to a few hundred of you, I would not be this cozy, this sitting on my chair in my living room just kind of talking. Like, even if it was a Zoom call where you were all there, I think I'd be a lot more nervous. But because I'm just focusing on the camera and talking to the lens, I can just kind of freely talk about what comes to mind. Obviously, last year, if you go back through some of my older videos, you're gonna see a lot more of a rigid kind of me reading a script type of video. But I think that goes to show how self-conscious I am, or I was, or still am. I think a lot, what I'm trying to say really with me being in my head and being self-conscious about all these things is really just what you think might be a flaw in your personality type and who you are, or what you seem to not feel like, oh, well, why can that person be so free and talkative, and why can this person do all of these things, and why does everything always look grass greener type of vibe? Well, just lean into what it is that makes you different, like just understand that we're not all the same and we all have something unique to offer. And it's not that it's necessarily good or bad or socially acceptable, or, well, maybe socially acceptable is probably a good barrier to have, but other than that, I don't know why I went there. But, just focus on yourself, focus on who you are as a person, and just lean into it. If you're socially awkward and you rather be really nerdy about your stuff, maybe pick up product photography like I did, and you can worry about moving your flash by 1 inch to the left and 1 inch to the right, and then try another third shot where you add another light and you have to wait 20 minutes, and then you move another, and then it only changes the image by 3%. Well, at least your model is not gonna be complaining that whole time, just sitting there waiting and being like, are you done yet? If you're not the technically nerdy type of person and you do like that interaction with people, well, maybe throw yourself into events, and you can be a wedding photographer and you're literally paid to go to weddings every weekend and party with people on their happiest days of their lives. Everyone's on a good mood, and you get free drinks and great food, and you get to party all summer, and that's a great life too, like the photography just allows you to exploit that personal trait that you have and just go all in. There's a lot of different things that attract us as photographers, and I think that's why we tend to shoot different types of things. People who like landscape might not be really the type of people who go shoot events, people who, and vice versa. But whatever it is that attracts us to that type of photography, there are other people within that realm that are also similar to you. And I think the unifying trait of all of us as photographers is just this desire to create and to share and to put it out there. And if you just focus on that process, then everything just tends to fall into place. I think one of the things I'm most grateful for is probably just being able to find something that I'm good at and that I enjoy doing. And it's not something that I was ever naturally talented at. It's just because I enjoy doing it, I just do it over and over and over and over again. And it's not about having all of the accomplishments under your belt, but it's about doing it one day and then doing it the next day and then doing it the next day, and then looking back at 10 years of progress and being like, oh, the needle has changed a little bit. Photography allows us to, have this unreachable scale, this never-ending ladder type of thing. So we're always progressing, we're always moving forward, we always get those little dopamine points. It's really fun, it's really great. Anyway, that's my rant for this Monday, Tuesday, whatever day I decide to upload these. And yeah, anyway, I'll see you Thursday. Thanks for hanging out.